There are 7 slot machines operating on casino floors right now that I watched destroy players' bankrolls faster than any others during my 14 years as a casino floor supervisor. And I'm about to tell you exactly which ones they are and why you should walk past them every single time. I spent 14 years as a casino floor supervisor and slot operations manager at properties in Las Vegas, Atlantic City, and tribal casinos across the Southwest. My responsibilities included monitoring real-time machine performance data, analyzing player loss patterns, coordinating with manufacturers when machines exhibited concerning retention characteristics, and reviewing weekly hold percentage reports that revealed precisely which machines were most profitable for the casino and most devastating for players. During those 14 years, I identified 7 specific slot machine titles that consistently appeared at the top of our most profitable machines list. These weren't machines that occasionally took big money. These were machines whose fundamental design characteristics, low RTP, deceptive bonus structures, psychological manipulation tactics, created perfect storms that systematically drained bankrolls while keeping players engaged far longer than rational decision-making would recommend. You've suspected certain machines are designed specifically to take your money faster, that manufacturers and casinos collaborate to create games that feel rewarding while actually extracting maximum revenue, that there are machines on floors right now you should avoid completely. You're absolutely right. And I'm about to expose the 7 worst offenders. Before I reveal these 7 machines, I need 3 things immediately. First, hit that like button right now. Second, subscribe and activate notifications because this is insider knowledge. Casinos absolutely do not want reaching players. Third, comment below. Have you played any of these 7 machines? Did you notice they seemed impossible to win on? These 7 machines represent the most profitable titles from the casino's perspective, which means they're the most costly from yours. Understanding why I'm warning you against them reveals exactly what predatory slot design looks like. Let me start with the most iconic slot brand in gambling history, and one of the worst mathematical bets you can make. Machine number 1, Wheel of Fortune quarter slots. The licensing fee trap that destroys your RTP before you even spin. Wheel of Fortune represents the most recognizable slot brand in American gambling. Walk into any casino, and you'll see rows of these machines with that distinctive wheel prominently displayed. Players love them because of nostalgia and brand familiarity. I'm warning you against them because of brutal mathematics. Here's what casinos know but don't advertise. Wheel of Fortune machines have some of the lowest RTP programming of any slots on the floor. Quarter denomination versions typically operate between 86% and 88% RTP, return to player. That's absolutely terrible. Why? Because IGT, the manufacturer, pays substantial licensing fees to use the Wheel of Fortune intellectual property. Those fees get passed directly to players through reduced RTP programming. You're essentially paying extra for brand recognition while receiving inferior mathematical returns. The wheel bonus feature, the signature element everyone gets excited about, triggers approximately once every 250 to 300 spins based on programming algorithms. When it finally triggers, average payouts range from 15 to 30 times your bet. Do that mathematics. If you're betting 75 cents per spin, you're spending roughly $200 in wagers to trigger a bonus that pays $15 to $25. Let me tell you about a player I'll call Margaret. Margaret was a retired schoolteacher who played Wheel of Fortune quarter slots religiously every Friday for nearly 3 years. She kept meticulous records in a notebook. Every session, every dollar wagered, every win and loss documented carefully. After 3 years, Margaret showed me her records during a conversation. She'd deposited approximately $42,000 into Wheel of Fortune machines. Her returns totaled approximately $29,000. She'd lost $13,000 over 3 years to a machine she genuinely believed was fun and fair. Margaret's 69% return rate over extended play was actually consistent with the machine's 86% to 88% RTP programming when you account for variance. The brutal reality, the brand familiarity that made Margaret comfortable, cost her thousands of dollars she would have retained playing higher RTP machines. Machine number 2, Buffalo Gold. The high volatility trap disguised as frequent bonuses. Buffalo Gold by Aristocrat became one of the most popular slots globally. Its distinctive gold buffalo head symbols and dramatic free spin bonuses created massive player loyalty. From a supervisor's perspective analyzing performance data, Buffalo Gold was a revenue goldmine because it perfectly balanced engagement with profitability. Here's the problem. Buffalo Gold exhibits extreme volatility masked by relatively frequent bonus triggers. The free spin bonus triggers approximately once every 120 to 150 spins. That sounds reasonable until you understand payout distribution. The overwhelming majority of Buffalo Gold bonuses, roughly 85% to 90% based on performance data I reviewed, pay less than 50 times your bet. If you're betting $1 per spin, you're spending $120 to $150 triggering bonuses that return $30 to $40. The mathematics are devastating. But occasionally, maybe one in every 40 to 50 bonus rounds, the machine delivers a super bonus where gold buffalo heads stack dramatically, multipliers compound, and payouts reach 300 to 500 times bet or higher. These rare massive wins create the psychological hook keeping players engaged. The base game RTP sits around 88% to 90% depending on denomination, which is mediocre. Combined with high volatility and the pursuit of those rare super bonuses, Buffalo Gold systematically grinds down bankrolls. I documented a player named Carlos who exemplified Buffalo Gold's trap perfectly. Carlos played Buffalo Gold exclusively, 3 to 4 times weekly, 2 to 3 hour sessions. Over 11 months, Carlos deposited approximately $38,000 into Buffalo Gold machines. Carlos hit exactly 2 super bonuses during those 11 months, one paying $2,200, another paying $3,100. Those wins totaled $5,300 and felt enormous to Carlos. But his total returns across all sessions were approximately $26,000. He lost $12,000 net, despite those 2 spectacular wins that dominated his memory. Buffalo Gold's genius, from the casino's perspective, is creating memorable wins that psychologically overwhelm the mathematical reality of consistent losses. Machine number 3, Lightning Link, Happy Lantern. The near-miss programming nightmare that makes you feel perpetually close to winning. Lightning Link represents Aristocrat's massively successful hold and spin series. Happy Lantern specifically targets Asian-themed demographics and has become ubiquitous in casinos with significant Asian customer bases. I'm warning you against it because of aggressive near-miss programming that exceeds other Lightning Link versions. The base game RTP sits around 87%, which is already concerning. But the real manipulation involves the hold and spin feature triggering patterns. You need 6 or more special symbols to trigger the feature. Programming data suggests this occurs approximately once every 75 to 90 spins. Here's the psychological trap. Happy Lantern shows 5 special symbols, just one short of triggering, far more frequently than pure random distribution would produce. These near misses are deliberately programmed to create the sensation that you're close to triggering the feature when mathematically you're not. Academic research on gambling psychology demonstrates that human brains process near misses almost identically to actual wins, triggering dopamine release and creating motivation to continue. Happy Lantern exploits this mercilessly. When you do trigger hold and spin features, most pay between 8 and 20 times your bet. Occasionally, you'll catch favorable symbol distributions paying 50 to 100 times bet. Rarely, you'll fill screens or trigger progressive elements for 200-plus times bet. But the statistical majority are disappointing 10 to 15 times bet payouts after extended grinding. Let me tell you about a player named Diana, who kept detailed tracking of her Happy Lantern play over 8 months. Diana documented triggering the hold and spin feature approximately 280 times during that period. Of those 280 features, only 11 paid more than 100 times her bet. The remaining 269 were modest payouts that barely dented her overall losses. Diana's total investment over 8 months, $14,000. Total returns, approximately $10,000. She lost $4,000 despite triggering nearly 300 bonus features, an average of 1 feature per session, because those features simply didn't pay adequately relative to her total wagering. Machine number 4, 88 Fortunes. The progressive jackpot trap that destroys lives chasing unlikely grand prizes. 88 Fortunes by Scientific Games, formerly Bally, has become one of the most popular Asian-themed slots worldwide. The number 8's cultural significance in Chinese tradition creates powerful symbolic appeal. From a floor supervisor's perspective, 88 Fortunes was consistently among our highest revenue machines because of its progressive jackpot structure's psychological manipulation. The machine allows bet adjustment affecting gold symbol frequency. More gold symbols activated supposedly means better jackpot chances, but really just means higher bets. Base game RTP sits around 88%. The Fu Bat Jackpot feature, a picking game attempting to match symbols for one of 4 progressive jackpots, mini, minor, major, grand, is the psychological hook. The mini jackpot pays $10 to $15 typically, minor around $100, major around $1,000. Grand ranges from $5,000 to $20,000 depending on accumulation. Here's the trap. Players hit mini jackpots frequently, maybe once every 3 to 5 sessions. They hit minor jackpots perhaps monthly. This creates the perception that jackpots are reachable. So they chase the grand, which has odds so astronomical that most players will literally never hit it, despite years of play. Let me tell you about the most devastating case I witnessed. A player I'll call Anthony played 88 Fortunes at maximum bet, nearly daily for approximately 26 months. Maximum bet at $4.50 per spin, averaging 500 to 600 spins per session, 4 to 5 sessions weekly. Conservative estimates suggest Anthony wagered close to $300,000 over those 26 months. He hit the mini jackpot hundreds of times. He hit minor jackpots perhaps 20 times. He hit major jackpots twice, once for $900, once for $1,100. He never hit the grand jackpot, not once. His total returns over 26 months were approximately $220,000. He lost approximately $80,000 chasing a grand jackpot that never materialized. Eventually, Anthony's spouse discovered the extent of his losses. He'd hidden them through credit cards and secret withdrawals. They were forced to sell their home to address the debt. Anthony was subsequently banned from the casino at his spouse's insistence. The cruelest irony, 3 months after Anthony's ban, the grand jackpot on his regular 88 Fortunes machine finally hit. Someone else won $18,000. Anthony had chased it for 26 months, lost everything, and then someone else collected within weeks of his departure. This pattern repeats constantly. Players chase progressive jackpots thinking, "I've invested so much, it has to hit eventually." But RNGs don't track your investment. Every spin maintains identical independent probability. The machine doesn't owe you anything regardless of how much you've lost. Machine number 5. Sex in the City. The losses disguised as wins deception that masks how badly you're losing. Sex and the City by IGT exemplifies one of the most insidious psychological manipulation tactics in modern slot design. Losses disguised as wins, LDW. This machine celebrates net losses as though they were victories, systematically confusing your perception of financial performance. Here's the mechanism. You wager $2.50 on a spin. Reels stop. Dramatic lights activate. Celebratory music plays. Elaborate animations fill the screen. You hear satisfying coin sounds. Your brain registers winning. You check your credit. You won $1.25. You just lost $1.25. But the machine celebrated as though you'd hit a jackpot. Academic research analyzing modern multi-line slots documents that LDWs occur on 35% to 48% of all spins. Nearly half the time, you're experiencing net financial losses, while machines systematically manipulate your brain into perceiving success through celebration signals. Why is this devastating? Because human brains release dopamine responding to celebration signals. Lights, sounds, animations, not responding to actual mathematical outcomes. The sensory celebration triggers neurological pleasure responses identical to genuine wins, even when you're losing money. The Sex and the City machine has RTP around 88% to 90%, depending on denomination. Combined with relentless LDW celebrations, players consistently underestimate their actual losses. You'll play 90 minutes and think you're down $50 when reality is you've lost $250. Those LDW celebrations masked the hemorrhaging. Let me tell you about a bachelorette party group I observed. 6 women decided to play Sex in the City together because they loved the show. They took turns spinning, cheering each other on, celebrating every win, having seemingly wonderful time. After 2.5 hours, I had access to their combined transaction data. Collectively, they'd lost $2,300. But when I overheard their departure conversation, they were saying things like, "That was so fun, and we almost broke even." They had zero awareness that they'd collectively lost $2,300 because the machine had celebrated their losses, disguised as wins constantly throughout the session. Machine number 6. Dragon Link Panda Magic, the frequent small wins deception that bleeds you slowly while keeping you engaged. Dragon Link Panda Magic by Aristocrat represents evolution in predatory slot design. Manufacturers discovered that players don't just want big wins, they want engagement and action. Panda Magic delivers exactly that, while extracting more money over longer periods than previous Dragon Link versions. Base game RTP sits around 86%, compared to original Dragon Link titles at 88% to 90%. That 2% to 4% difference compounds dramatically over extended play. But the key manipulation is feature trigger frequency versus payout amount. Panda Magic's hold and spin feature triggers approximately once every 65 to 75 spins, more frequently than other Dragon Link versions. This creates perception of action and entertainment value. But average payouts from these features are approximately 30% lower than other Dragon Link games. The psychological principle is frequent small wins. The machine provides just enough small wins and frequent enough feature triggers to maintain engagement and hope, but never sufficient payouts to actually get ahead or even break even. You're perpetually slightly down, but having fun and seeing action, so you continue playing. After Panda Magic operated on casino floors for approximately 6 months, Aristocrat released internal performance data to casino operators. The data revealed Panda Magic retained players longer than nearly any other Dragon Link version, and hold percentages, how much money casinos kept, exceeded other versions substantially. In other words, Panda Magic was exceptionally effective at making casinos money by keeping players engaged while paying out less. This represents the future of slot design. Games that feel rewarding and entertaining while extracting more money over longer periods. I documented performance of 6 Panda Magic machines at our property over 3 months. Those 6 machines generated more revenue than 10 older Dragon Link machines during the same period. Not because more people played Panda Magic, but because players who did play lost more money over longer sessions. Machine number 7. Ultimate Fire Link Tiki Fire. The visual manipulation machine that shows near misses that don't actually exist. Ultimate Fire Link Tiki. Fire by IGT combines everything problematic about modern slots into one package. Terrible RTP, approximately 85%. Deceptive features, high volatility, and visual manipulation bordering on unethical. The Firelink feature is the primary bonus. You need 6 or more fireball symbols to trigger, which then provides 3 respins. Landing additional fireballs resets your spins to 3. The goal is filling the screen with fireballs containing cash values or mini jackpot symbols. The feature triggers approximately once every 55 to 75 spins. But here's the manipulation. The overwhelming majority of triggers start with exactly 6 fireballs, give you 3 respins, and you don't land any additional fireballs. The feature ends immediately, paying whatever modest amount was on those 6 original fireballs, typically 5 to 15 times your bet. So you spent 55 to 75 spins at 85% RTP to trigger a feature that paid barely anything. But occasionally, maybe 1 in every 35 to 40 features, you'll get what's called a full screen, where fireballs keep landing, respins keep resetting, and you win several hundred times your bet. These rare big features keep players hooked. Here's the visual manipulation that multiple former technicians described as feeling guilty about. During Firelink features, the reels often show fireballs landing just above or just below the visible screen. You see them dropping tantalizingly close, but they don't actually land in play. This isn't a traditional near miss because the reels are virtual and outcomes are predetermined anyway. But the visual effect deliberately creates the sensation of, "I was so close to more fireballs," generating frustration and motivation to keep playing. Former technicians confirmed this visual trick is programmed intentionally into the game code. Let me tell you about the case that troubled multiple employees. An elderly woman, probably mid-70s, played Tiki Fire daily for months. We'd see her mornings when we arrived, still there when we left. She had to be losing thousands weekly based on her play patterns. One day, a technician was maintaining the adjacent machine and overheard her conversation with another player. She explained she was playing with her late husband's life insurance money. She believed she was due for a big win because she'd put so much money into that machine. The technician wanted desperately to tell her to stop, to explain the machine doesn't owe her anything, that every spin is independent. But casino employees are prohibited from giving gambling advice. They could lose their jobs for telling her the mathematical truth. So they watched helplessly as she systematically drained her late husband's life insurance into a machine programmed to take it from her, using visual tricks and psychological manipulation to keep her engaged despite devastating losses. That's why multiple former employees specifically mentioned Tiki Fire as morally problematic. It's not just that the odds are terrible. It's that the machine specifically exploits human psychology in ways that feel genuinely wrong. The frequent but disappointing features, the visual near misses, the rare big wins maintaining hope. Everything combines to create a machine exceptionally effective at separating players from their money. Now let me explain why these 7 machines specifically appear on this warning list, and what you should do instead. Common characteristics of all 7 machines. Low RTP programming. All 7 operate between 85% and 90% RTP, which is bottom tier for slot machines. Compare this to games offering 92% to 96% RTP. That 5% to 10% difference compounds dramatically over thousands of spins. Deceptive bonus structures. All 7 create perception that bonuses are reachable and valuable, when statistical reality reveals they're infrequent and disappointing relative to total wagering required. Psychological manipulation. All 7 employed tactics like near-miss programming, losses disguised as wins, progressive jackpot traps, or visual deception specifically designed to keep you playing longer than rational decision-making would recommend. High casino profitability. All 7 consistently appeared at the top of our most profitable machines reports, meaning they're the most costly for players. What you should do instead. Strategy 1. Avoid all 7 machines completely. If your local casino has any of these 7, Wheel of Fortune, Buffalo Gold, Lightning Link Happy Lantern, 88 Fortunes, Sex in the City, Dragon Link Panda Magic, Ultimate Fire Link Tiki Fire, walk past them every single time. Every other machine on the floor offers superior mathematics or less aggressive psychological manipulation. Strategy 2. Prioritize higher RTP games and denominations. Research which games offer best documented RTP. Classic 3-reel slots often offer 92% to 95% RTP. Certain video poker variants offer 96% to 99% RTP with optimal play. Higher denominations, dollars, $5, offer 2% to 4% better RTP than penny slots within same game. Strategy 3. Recognize psychological manipulation tactics. When you see near misses clustering, recognize them as programmed manipulation, not signals you're close. When machines celebrate but you lost money, track only your actual balance. When you feel the urge to chase progressive jackpots, remember Anthony's story. $80,000 lost chasing something that never came. Strategy 4. Apply strict bankroll management. The 1% rule remains essential even on better machines. Never wager more than 1% of total bankroll per spin. If you have $300, maximum bet is $3. Set predetermined limits before playing. Loss limit. Maximum you'll lose before leaving. Typically 25% to 30% of total bankroll. Win limit. Predetermined profit target triggering serious evaluation about continuing or cashing out. Time limit. Maximum session duration regardless of financial position. Typically 90 minutes to 2 hours maximum. These limits must be established before playing and enforced without exception. Strategy 5. Practice physical cash-out discipline. When you hit targets, win limits, loss limits, or time limits, you must physically cash out and create separation. Go to the cashier cage. Get cash. Put it in your pocket or give it to a companion. Remove it from immediate access. This physical separation creates psychological barrier, preventing you from borrowing from protected funds when experiencing losses. This separates players who actually leave ahead from players who understand strategy intellectually, but violate it emotionally. Let me tell you about a player named Robert, who demonstrated what happens without discipline. Robert understood everything I've explained. He researched RTP. He knew these 7 machines were problematic. He set limits before playing. But Robert lacked physical separation discipline. One evening, Robert was playing a higher RTP classic slot, was ahead $260, and hit his predetermined win limit. But instead of cashing out and leaving, he thought, just a few more spins. 90 minutes later, Robert had lost his entire $260 profit, plus his original $300 bankroll. He left down $40 despite having been ahead $260 earlier. Robert's problem wasn't knowledge. He understood mathematics and strategy perfectly. His problem was lack of physical separation discipline. If he'd walked to the cage, cashed out, put that $260 in his pocket, he would have protected it. Instead, keeping it as credits enabled him to rationalize just a few more spins that cost him everything. Let's summarize the 7 slot machines you should never spin and why. Wheel of Fortune. Licensing fees reduce RTP to 86-88%. Wheel bonus triggers once every 250 to 300 spins, paying only 15-30 times bet. Brand familiarity costs you thousands. Buffalo Gold. High volatility masked by frequent bonuses. 85 to 90% of bonuses pay less than 50 times bet. Rare super bonuses create psychological hook, while mathematics grind you down. Lightning Link. Happy Lantern. Aggressive near-miss programming at 87% RTP. Hold and spin features trigger but pay disappointingly. 5-symbol near misses deliberately programmed to create so close sensation. 88 Fortunes. Progressive jackpot trap at 88% RTP. Players chase grand jackpots. They'll statistically never hit despite years of play. Anthony lost $80,000 and his home. Sex in the City. Losses disguised as wins occur on 35 to 48% of spins. Machine celebrates net losses, confusing perception. Players consistently underestimate actual losses by hundreds of dollars. Dragon Link Panda Magic. Frequent small wins deception at 86% RTP. Features trigger more often, but pay 30% less. Keeps you engaged while bleeding you slowly. Ultimate Fire Link Tiki Fire. Visual manipulation at 85% RTP. Shows near-miss fireballs that don't actually land. Most features start with 6 fireballs and end immediately. Morally problematic psychological exploitation. Universal truth about these 7 machines. They represent the worst combination of low RTP, deceptive features, and psychological manipulation available on casino floors. Manufacturers and casinos collaborated to create these games specifically to maximize revenue extraction while maintaining player engagement. Your defense: knowledge, recognition, and discipline. Know which machines to avoid. Recognize manipulation tactics when you encounter them. Maintain absolute discipline about limits and physical separation. The house always has mathematical edge long-term, but avoiding these 7 machines dramatically improves your odds of minimizing losses and occasionally leaving ahead. If you found this valuable, I need 3 actions immediately. First, subscribe and hit notifications. I'm continuing to expose casino industry secrets, predatory machine design, and player protection strategies based on operational insider knowledge. Second, share this video with anyone who plays slots. Understanding which 7 machines to avoid could save them thousands of dollars. Third, watch this video here where I reveal the specific slot machines that actually offer decent RTP and fair bonus structures. The games I'd play if I were still gambling. Before closing, the mandatory legal disclaimer: if you or someone you know struggles with gambling addiction, seek professional help immediately. Contact the National Council on Problem Gambling at 1-800-522-4700, available 24 hours daily. This video is educational. I'm revealing operational performance data and design characteristics, not guaranteeing outcomes or encouraging gambling. Slots are entertainment, never income. The house always maintains mathematical edge. Only gamble with money you can afford to lose completely. Set limits before playing. Enforce limits without exception. Never chase losses. Never play with borrowed money or funds needed for essential expenses. But if you're going to play slots, understanding which 7 machines exhibit the worst combination of low RTP, deceptive features, and psychological manipulation helps you make informed avoidance decisions. These 7 machines cost casinos nothing to operate, and players everything to play. The mathematics are brutal. The manipulation is sophisticated. The outcomes are predictable. Knowledge is your weapon. Avoidance is your strategy. Discipline is your protection. Walk past these 7 machines every single time. And remember, the best way to beat these predatory games is refusing to play them. Until next time, stay informed and stay protected.